All your favorite wrestling shows rolled into one. Welcome to the We Book It podcast. Let's start the show.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the We Book It podcast. This is your Who's Next with the NXT edition. I am your host, Virgil, back again for another episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hey, go ahead and make sure that you hit that like button, that share button, and that subscribe button if this is your first time watching one of our videos. Listen, we cover everything wrestling from New Japan to AEW to NXT to WWE to TNA or Trickine if you like it, and everything in between. We love wrestling on this channel, and we appreciate each and every last one of you that tune into our reviews throughout the week, and also that tune in to our Sunday night special where we give all of our variety of ideas, thoughts on the hottest topics in wrestling. So appreciate you guys so much. Do me a favor also, join in that conversation. All you got to do is go ahead and leave us a comment below, whether you're watching on Twitch or whether you're watching on YouTube. Appreciate you guys. Join in the conversation. Give us your thoughts. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Now, with that being said, we got to talk about NXT because we are on the road to Heatwave, and on that road, we had to make a stop in Philly. Motown Philly back again. Well, actually, it was NXT Philly back again. And NXT was in Philly at the old ECW arena. That's right, where they did their show for tonight. And in this show, we had advertised, we're going to find out who the next number one contender will be for the NXT championship when Javon Evans took on Trick Williams. We also had Jordynne Grace and Blake Monroe meeting face to face before they battle at Heatwave. And then you had Ethan Page. I really love this gimmick. I really wish they would call Ethan Page up to the main roster so him and Chelsea Green could really work together. But you have Ethan Page teaming up with Chelsea Green to take on Tavion Heights and Tyra May Steele for a USA and Canada peace treaty. We also had Ricky Saints taking on Jasper Troy. Fatal Influence will battle the Elegance brand. A Philadelphia street fight between Inamura and Josh Briggs, and so much more. So NXT was literally on point. So the show started with this usual montage of talent arriving. Then you cut to Josh Briggs in the back attacking Yoshiki Inamura in the back, and they spill out to ringside, and they're off. And literally, the show starts like that. Complete chaos. I always love when wrestling shows start off with complete chaos. I hate it when they start with the norm. Somebody comes out to cut a promo to set up the show. I love it when it starts off in chaos. And this started off with a match. First things first. So Inamura started out brawling with Josh Briggs. They brawl out into the NXT arena, and they're giving each other back elbow cuts and beating each other half to death. And they go back and forth. Then we head into commercial break. Coming back from commercial break, one of the high spots was when Josh Briggs put Inamura put a trash can on Josh Briggs and lays in more elbows and chops, and then he grabs a bat, and then he put a baseball bat to the trash can also. I mean, literally, that moment in itself got a big pop from the crowd. Everybody was super hype about that. And then obviously Yoshiki gave him the rock bottom into the trash can, and then goes under the ring and gets a Slim Jim table. He sets up the table. Josh has the wherewithal to load his fist with a chain. Yoshiki up on the top, and Josh Briggs cuts him off with a loaded punches. And Amora shrugged it off, and then diving splash through the table, but it can't put Josh Briggs away. Then Briggs rams the table into him, and when he slides in it and drops him with a chain-loaded lariat, he sets Yoshiki on the table for a big man moonsault, and 1, 2, 3. What a heck of a match. Listen, this is one of those potential matches of the week. This is something that you definitely want to go back and watch if you at all possibly can. Next up, we get the Twitter video of a video chat between Masha Slamovich, Ava Rain, and Santino Marella, where Slamovich pitches herself as a special guest referee for tonight. After promising no shenanigans, all three parties agree on that. Next thing you know, Ricky Saints makes his entrance and crosses paths with Josh Briggs on his way to the ring. Ooh, giving you a little bit of insider on what's coming next. I like when WWE does that. And then back from commercial break, Trick Williams is interviewed backstage. He talks about beating Moose and says Javon must be stupid if he thinks he can beat him because he's about to bounce his ass back to high school because this is a business for grown men. And then he'll see Oba Femi at Heatwave and make himself a three-time, count it, 1, 2, 3, three-time NXT champion. But before we get to that match, we have Jasper Troy and Ricky Saints. This match, obviously, like I said, Jasper Troy is the big guy. Ricky Saints is the little guy working in this match. Definitely a David and Goliath type mentality here, where you want to see the big man look dominant, but then the speed catches up with him with Ricky Saints, because Ricky Saints is that dude, man. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. He's one of my favorite NXT superstars as of right now. But Troy hoses Saints up and scoops, and he floats over into a sleeper hold, and then Jasper rams him into the corner to try to break it, but Ricky Saints stays on him. And then the big diving body hits him, and then he follows it up, but Troy kicks out. Then the big boot. Then we go to commercial break, and then back from commercial break, Saints is trying to ground Troy, but obviously the power and strength and size difference is what separates these two men. Jasper rams him into the corner, landing shoulder blocks, but then Ricky gets a boot up. Saints hits him with a tornado DDT, stepping up off the apron. Another tornado DDT back inside the ring, and 1, 2, 3. Not that long of a match, which I'm not mad about. Like I said, Jasper Troy came in with a lot of pomp and circumstance into NXT, especially after winning LFG season 1. But he does still have to pay his dues, and he's going to do a lot of losing in the near future. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, as wrestling fans, when we see our favorites begin to start losing, we like to use the B word. And no, I'm not talking about BICTH. I'm talking about buried. We love to use the terminology buried if we see our guy lose more than 3 matches. Listen, Jasper Troy is very young in this business. Everybody has to look up at the lights. That's just a part of it. Only Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is the only person that I've ever seen in the history of wrestling literally come in and immediately just run through everybody. The only way he lost the match was through disqualification, and he won all the way into the WWE Undisputed Championship. He's the only one I've ever seen do something like that. Everybody else, you got to look up at the lights. So don't give up on Jasper Troy. But Ricky Saints is the man, dude, and I'm telling y'all, he will be NXT champion before long. Backstage, Hank and Tank are chatting with Ava Rain, trying to figure out which 2 Dark State guys they're getting on Sunday when the Elegance brand rolls up and shoos them off. The personal concierge introduces the 3 of them and implores her to not allow that filthy Masha Slamovich to be the official tonight. But Rain says the deal is done, and Masha appears in a ref uniform. The concierge flips out about a look of bias on her face, and Elegance brand storms off to go talk to a lawyer or something, and we go to break from there. Really weird seeing Ash by Elegance back on WWE television, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. Back from commercial break, Jordynne Grace makes her entrance and gets on the mic. She says she came to NXT after traveling the world and building a reputation, and she figured she'd do like she always has and she'd win championships. But that hasn't happened. She's aware of her weaknesses, and she expects those to set her back, but she didn't expect a friendship to set her back. Now she watches the show, and she knows how wrestling friendships pan out. But she thought hey, maybe this would be the exception. She says that was stupid of her, but the adjustment of being to being in WWE has really, really been hard, and she's never had someone try to exploit her insecurities like that and force her to address them publicly. She was angry at first, but now she has one objective. She doesn't need to prove she's better, and she doesn't care about revenge, but she wants Blake to Monroe to see herself for exactly what she is. Enter in Blake Monroe, accompanied by a bunch of security guards. She says there's no redemption for the truth. And she gets in the ring and says she's had a contract drawn up. If Jordynne lays one finger on her, the match at Heatwave is off. And she thought she needed to feel sorry for Grace, but Grace clearly feels sorry enough for herself, so she doesn't need to. Grace says she's been right about a lot of things, but this is where she's wrong at. At Evolution, Blake was stuck at ringside while she wrestled in the ring as one of the main characters. And so she thinks Monroe is jealous of her. Evolution must have been a harsh reality check, and Blake is a disgusting snake. Monroe says Jordynne isn't just an outsider. She's a reject playing a superstar. And now that the glamour has arrived, there's simply not enough room for the both of them. Grace starts at her, and Blake warns her off per the contract. But Jordynne says she doesn't need to attack her to show her what she's getting at Heatwave. She lays out a bunch of the security guards, which you could pretty much guess that she was going to end up laying out those security guards as soon as they came out. She grabs Monroe by the wrist at the last one runs off, as she says she's going to show her what ugly really looks like. And that ends their segment there. I get it. I don't like it. I don't like what they got going on between these two. I don't like how they're trying to plan Jordynne Grace as, the schoolgirl that's getting bullied, and Blake Monroe is supposed to be this glamour girl that, I'm saying, is just, able to, make her look like crap or whatnot. I've never liked that storyline. Never liked them doing that storyline with the women. Never. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully the match is good at Heatwave. Fatal Influence are chatting backstage when Lainey Reid rolls up and tells JC Jane to go show him why she's the double champ. So Ruka and Zaria roll up, and Soul tells her to do as much social media as she can before she loses her title on Sunday. Reid lands a cheap shot about JC defending both her titles, and Soul considers her WWE Speed Championship for a moment and says she feels a need for speed as we go to break. Listen, that Speed Championship is about as dead in the water as anything else. Ain't shit going on with them Speed titles. Look. Hold on, see if it'll post up. Look at it. Look, ain't shit going on with that Speed Championship. You might as well leave that thing in the dust. We go to commercial break. Back after commercial break, Javon Evans is interviewed. He says to get Oba Femi, he has to go through Trick Williams. The Trick is split in too many directions, whereas all he wants is to be NXT champion. Javon Evans, man, like for a kid, that dude is dynamite, man. He is money, and like he relates to a lot of the kids. His slang, his lingo, everything like that. I can't wait to see him come to the main roster and really, really, really do work. Him versus Dom Mysterio, I think, will be a money match. All right, so Masha Slamovich is your special guest referee for the next one. She makes her entrance. It's going to be Fatal Influence against Elegance, the Elegance brand. Eminem. M and Henley start a collar and elbow tie, clubbing blows, and they strut around the crowd. But Fallon comes right back at her with forearms, schoolboys, and different things like that. Ash comes in after the tag, double chicken winging. Jasmine then counters to a victory roll. Like I said, they do a bunch of stuff back and forth. The match gets interesting when referee Masha Slamovich ejects the personal concierge, and then we go to break. Back from break, and the hand-sporing back elbow drop kick combo from Elegance Gals, and then M lands a drive-by. And then Heather covers Henley for the 2. The match ends after it breaks down into everybody do something cool territory, and then Ash hits a senton atomico, but Masha is distracted in the ropes, no good. A jaw wing, a tag to JC. She lines her up, and then Fatal Influence wins by pinfall with a rolling elbow from JC Jane to Ash by Elegance. So you already know Masha Slamovich is going to take the blame for this loss. Which, I mean, she's in this feud with the Elegance crew anyway, so it just makes sense. But I thought this was a really cool spot to see two tag teams, or two factions that are, both heels going up against each other to see who's the better dominant heel faction. And Masha is slammed right in between the middle of it because she does want that TNA Knockouts Championship back. So Charlie Dempsey is seen talking backstage with Kendall Gray and offers her advice on how to handle herself in the wrestling ring. Then Ren Sinclair rolls up and asks how he's going to give advice to somebody who has a 61-0 in college. And then the Culling roll up to snipe about the no quarter catch crew and how they are down 2 members. They go back and forth, and I think Ren gets herself stuck in a handicap match against the distaff half of the Culling. We see our Canadian and American diplomatic crews walking backstage, and we go to break from there. Back from break, the Canadian delegation of Chelsea Green, accompanied by her secret Hervis and All Ego Ethan Page, make their entrance. All Ego says he knows how these Philadelphia freaks work, and he has the table removed from the ring immediately. The American delegation of Tavion Heights and Tyra May Steele make their entrance. Page tells Heights he's been doing a great job and he's becoming a real solo star. He's watched him fight his way out of NQCC and become a weapon in human form. And his issue is the way he looks at him. He says Tavion doesn't see a 19-year veteran or a world-class athlete. He just sees an opportunity. It just says, unlike in the Olympics, in pro wrestling, we don't celebrate losers. And second and third place is going home empty-handed. And he's the one holding the gold. Tavion says he's used to standing across from seasoned vets like All Ego and sending them flying, and he thinks he's foolishly underestimating him. He's honed his craft, done the work. He's blessed by athletic gods on Mount Olympus, and he's made in their image. He's going to eat what's on Ethan's plate and eat his plate. Green then calls him rude and says all Americans are rude, which is fair. They're just here to represent their country of majestic mountains and clean, fresh air. And now that she thinks about it, they have the superior nation and the superior athletes, which we know is bullshit. And then Steele says she's tired of Chelsea's bloviating, which is a college word that means she's talking too much, in case anybody didn't know. And we're in Philly where people speak their minds, and she needs Green to shut her mouth. Chelsea calls her a so-called gold medalist, and Tyra May runs down her credentials, having won gold medal in Tokyo, and Green offers up her WWE United States Championship run in WrestleMania and WWE in return. They go back and forth for a while, then enter in Ava Raine. She says she isn't giving peace, so at Heatwave, the 4 of them will compete in a mixed tag match. The Americans grab ankle locks, but the secret Hervis save the Canadians. Next thing you know, after that, Miles Bourne is chatting with Ricky Starks backstage when Lexis King rolls up to chat. He asks Bourne for 5 minutes and says he came here to apologize and admits he was wrong. He was insensitive to Miles' condition and mad at himself and deflected it back. Miles tells him he's deaf, but he's not blind. Lexis whips out some kind of spray and sprays it in Bourne's eyes and tells him he's blind now. Womp, womp, womp. Miles goes down, the medics rush over, and we go to break. After that, there's a lot of cutscenes in this episode. Goodness gracious. Kaylani Jordynne is backstage chatting with Lola Vice about their friendly rivalry when Lash Legend walks in. She jabs Lola about losing at Triple Mania and says Jada Parker doesn't belong in the match. It says neither of them could go toe-to-toe with Nia Jax. Jordynne gives her a guff about losing, saying it's more like she went ass to ribs, which is hilarious, but also factual. But Lash shrugs it off and says she's the biggest threat to the NXT Women's Championship. Next thing you know, Dark State runs into Ava Raine's office and they crow about winning the Atomicos match last week. She says she was very impressed last week and that they're going to handle Hank and Tank at Heatwave, and nobody cares about Joe Hendry. They care about Darks, and they said his name, so he appeared. Joe Hendry came out of a little tiny closet that was behind him. Joe says he's excited to see their tag title match and asks which of 2 of them it's going to be, but says this is the first and only warning to get behind them or they'll leave him behind. The rest of them leave, and Cutler James gets real close and says Joe doesn't want them behind him. One of them pulls James away and asks him why he's got to say it like that, and we cut away, which was hilarious. And then we go to the main event. Javon Evans makes his entrance, and then Trick Williams makes his entrance. These 2, you knew for a fact, were going to tear it up. The big main spot coming out of this match was Trick Williams literally throwing Javon Evans off the ropes, not the top rope, off the rope, the actual rope, and literally throwing him through a table. Like I said, the young OG went hard through the announce desk, and that took us to commercial break. Then after that, we get a bunch of angles when we come back of that toss and that boom. It looked like it hurt. And for a minute, like I said, Trick Williams looked like he was headed to do what he needed to do, but Javon Evans fought back. Evans with the schoolboy for the 2. He ducks a lariat, but Cyclone Cleo connects. Williams pulls him up. Fireman's carry slam over for 2. The knee pad down, but Mike Santana appears in the crowd and distracts him. And then you get an ace crusher from Evans, a springboard ace crusher, and Javon Evans wins by pinfall and will get his shot at the NXT World Championship at Heatwave. This has been your episode of NXT. I would say this show was a good A- show. A lot of good action. A little bit too many side clips. I know they use those to build the stories up, but geez, it was just a little bit too much for my liking on this episode. But past that, I really thought it was a great episode. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I appreciate you. You guys let me know what you think about this episode of NXT. Go back and watch that Javon Evans match. Also, go back and watch the beginning of the show with the Philadelphia street fight, because both were really, really good. Until next time, I'm your host, Mike Jones. I'm sorry, not Mike Jones. I'm your host, Virgil. And I appreciate you guys for watching Who's Next in NXT.